never seen myself as just one thing, and I made sure no one else could either. By staying true to myself, making my own path, rising above expectations, and opening the door for others to be their true selves. The first spirit, made with VSOP Cognac, finished in bourbon casks, Martell Blue Swift, soar beyond the expected.
Good afternoon, good evening, and good night. I am 𝐿𝐿uminati. This is the Crypto and Cognac podcast, season 3, episode 30, season finale. Another amazing season of the podcast. So I had to mix myself a big celebratory drink. Shout out to my people at Martell Cognac. Shout out to my people at 𝐂𝐻𝐍 for keeping me hydrated, for keeping me hyped all season long. This one is, or I should say has been, a special season because the entire season was during a bear market. And I'm so happy that you guys stuck around, keep me invested so that I could stick around through this bear market, supporting you, you supporting me, us supporting each other, 𝐂𝐻𝐍 supporting us, Martell supporting us through a season, talking crypto, talking finance, talking fintech, talking NFTs, talking a whole lot, never giving financial advice, always the ICE rule, information, conversation, education. But it has truly been an amazing ride. I just checked, like I literally just checked. And a couple weeks from now, June 4th, to be specific, 2 years ago, 2021, I got on Instagram for the first time to start episode 1 of this podcast, season 1, with my boy Mark Hardy, Brave Boy, talking just about our journey to the crypto space. At that point in time, it was just because I felt like when I was doing all this learning and all this knowledge acquisition in the crypto space, everybody was talking about crypto from the perspective of the North American or the European perspective. And there were a lot of different nuances about the space that was very, very specific to the Caribbean experience. And I felt like, there was an opportunity for somebody to really translate that information, to decipher that information for the Caribbean market. And that is where and why we got started. And yeah, 2 years later, 2 full proper years, 90 episodes, 90 weeks of content, of you guys being here, me being here, us having some amazing guests, of doing this. So, I want to thank each and every one of you guys for being here with me over the last 2 years, but specifically over the last 30 weeks of this podcast, making the jump from Instagram in season 1 to YouTube in season 2 and continuing the growth. And I mean, I know everybody feels that their thing is the most exciting thing, but we have some exciting things planned for season 4, some new look stuff, some amazing conversations already in the works, 1 or 2 conversations that we weren't able to squeeze into this season. I mean, I'm so fucking excited. I am. And I'm also excited for the break to go refresh some of my knowledge, even though, you know, I stay up to date with the space, you know, it's nice to just have a period where you can just take in new information. The space is changing so rapidly. There's so many different new protocols that are coming that I want to get acquainted with. Stuff like ZK. We have layer 2s like ZK. We have layer 1s like cross-chain functionality like Zeta Chain. We have we have so many new platforms. There's one in particular I'm trying to remember, Starknet. So yeah, ordinals, NFTs on the Bitcoin network. So much that I really want to just dive into and, you know, come back to you guys with. So many people I want to seek out in this space to come in and have those conversations, break it down for us. So much is happening from a regulatory standpoint, not just in the Caribbean, but across the world. I want to bring a few more people into the space, into these conversations to talk from a regulatory standpoint, hoping to get 1 or 2 people from a few different central banks, a few different governments, to come and start having some of those hard conversations. Unfortunately, they don't like the hard questions. You know, everybody want to ask us hard questions, right? But when it's time to answer hard questions, nobody want to answer some hard questions. So we're going to try to get them. Hopefully they take the invitation. But yeah, super excited about season 4. Super excited to see, you know, what we look like. You know, we try to do a little production improvements every season. So excited to see some of those elements take shape. And yeah, but before we go forward, let's go back a little bit. I wanted to just go through some of the amazing conversations we've had this season, just reflect on them a little bit. It was so much, like just today going through some of them, you know, it's insane to think that we've had all these conversations over the last 30 weeks, but we did. So I want to just touch on a few of them. Of course, episode 1, we met with Mr. Ian Allen from PayWise. They were the first company in Trinidad and Tobago to be issued e-money issuer license, bringing the whole idea of digital money into the Trinidad and Tobago market. He himself is a crypto advocate, and so that was a super cool conversation. We follow that up with, of course, our conversation with the guys from Mad Canvas. Specifically, these guys were one of the first crypto projects to believe in us, to hire Crypto Caribbean to work with them to offer consultancy services. And, you know, fortunately, that was a really, really beneficial opportunity for us, not just to get our foot out there into the market and get our foot wet, but I mean, it was a successful product, and we were able to get a lot of our community into this project, and a lot of people in the community were able to make money on this particular project. We were able to do partnerships with them. You know, they were one of the major sponsors of our IRL event. So yeah, that was definitely a very, very cool conversation. Up next, how could we forget FTX? I mean, that whole FTX debacle happened in November. We talked about it right here as it was happening. I mean, it feels like a lifetime ago when we were still, you know, had so many questions. I mean, several months later, we still have questions, but we have so many more answers than we have questions in terms of what was happening. How were these guys managing to use customer funds? What was being done between Alameda and FTX that was undermining things? So much came out about FTX funding political campaigns. I mean, it was really, really intense. That was one of the conversations that we were supposed to have this season, but we didn't really get to have that conversation. Hopefully in season 4, we could have that conversation with somebody who was on the ground in Bahamas while all of this was happening, to get, you know, that firsthand idea and that first-hand perspective of what was taking place there. We, of course, talked to the guys from Draper Startup House, Darnell and Zwede. We had, Steve Trinidad, my boy Steven, Creator Labs. They are doing amazing things, continue to do amazing things. We definitely gonna have them back in season 4, because just not to talk too much on it, but they are doing some amazing things. I mean, what they did with and what they've been doing with the Caribbean Metaverse Art Week, what they've been doing with One Caribbean Plaza in terms of creating a platform for people in the region to have exposure in the metaverse, absolutely amazing. And they continue to do some great things. So definitely looking forward to talking to Stephen, catching up with Stephen, because every time we talk to him, it's something new. Rolando Bryson, I mean, MP in St. Martin, huge crypto, blockchain, Bitcoin advocate. I mean, he's a bit of a Bitcoin Cash advocate as well. We don't know about that, but not financial advice. But yeah, I mean, super amazing conversation with him, getting the perspective of somebody in that political space and what their thoughts are and how they are moving around the region to shape, I guess, regulatory perspective and to continue to advocate as we do for appropriate, innovative regulations to support, not just to protect investors, but to support the innovations in the space, especially in the Caribbean, because one of the things that we really, really want to see is that the Caribbean participates strongly in this new crypto blockchain space, and do so profitably. So yeah, that was a great conversation with Rolando. I mean, we talked about FUD coming off of FTX, coming off of a lot of what was happening in the space with companies going under. There was a lot of FUD, fear, uncertainty, doubt. We had an amazing conversation with Zoe Osborne, one of the truly most talented creatives coming out of the Caribbean, out of Barbados, understanding her process, understanding her journey to crypto, digital, the digital creative space, as somebody who was in the digital design space, more from an architectural interior design perspective previously, and how she's had success in the space so far. I mean, of course, we talked Martel, big up Martel, continuing to sponsor us, to support us. And we look back at 2022, which was a hectic year in the space, starting with the Terra Luna collapse. Then we saw company after company in the space go down: Terra Luna, Celsius, Voyager, Three Arrows, and then culminating with FTX. When we thought things were recovering, we saw Ethereum merge happen. So yeah, I mean, I think it was important to look back at 2022 and see all of what was happening. We had the Ducks on, the guys at Days Ducks, one of the other projects that was very, very early in terms of supporting us here on Crypto Caribbean, and trusting us. And they've done some amazing things. Shout out to Guava, shout out to Sean, shout out to Zach, all the guys at Days Ducks who continue to do amazing things. What they've been able to build as a Caribbean built project, Caribbean built platform, has been nothing short of amazing, from Days Ducks to subsequent NFT projects like the 𝐂𝐎𝐍𝐕𝐄𝐑𝐒𝐓𝐈𝐎𝐍 that have functionality, the Gems token, Solbid's platform. I mean, for anybody in this space, that is an amazing feat. But as truly Caribbean founders. It's just even more amazing. These guys show that it's possible for us to do big things and to compete at a high level in the space. So yeah. We talk about the Bank of International Standards and them setting standards for central banks and how central banks should treat with cryptocurrency going forward. I think that was an important thing to happen in this space, and it feels like so long ago, and like we've almost forgotten about it. But this is something that I think is going to be significant, especially as we come up upon 2025. I think when these standards are going to be rolled out, which will allow central banks to start holding cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin on their treasury. So that's super important. We spoke with Kiwan, got an understanding of his work with technical analysis, understanding what that means. We see so many people selling all these, I don't even know what to call them, all these courses, one-day course to learn how to do crypto trading for $1,200. And it's really crazy that people think that this is something that could be learned in one day and, invest all this money in it when, and I think it was important for us to hear from somebody like Kiwan, who's been doing it for such a long time, who understands the space, and really just getting an idea of how he came to find that space and, his journey with it, and initially him not having to put out that money and really showing people where they could find resources to learn trading and stuff like that without having to expense themselves. We all about free bags here. Anything that you can access for free, go do that, because that's where the value is. I mean, if you get something for free, the upside is infinite and the downside is non-existent, right? So I always tell people, if you can't invest money, don't stress yourself. Don't go and use your rent money. Invest the time, learn about it, invest in some activities. You never know, you might get an airdrop. So yeah, I think that was a super important conversation. Who we had next? Shawnee, my girl Chantel Lane. It's always super cool to talk to Chantel. Chantel has been a supporter of the podcast from day one, season one, and it's amazing to see somebody like herself who has been super successful in her own right, in her traditional space, as a Grammy Award nominated singer, songwriter, writing songs for Rihanna, Alison Hines, her own amazing hits, and her finding her way to the crypto space, releasing her work as NFTs. I think it's very important for women who are interested in this space to see representation in the space, seeing Caribbean women doing amazing things in this space. So always blessing to have Shawnee on. Talking about the bulls versus the bears, we were asking questions about whether we're in a bull market, we're in a bear market. We started seeing, some in January we saw, some movement on Solana with meme coins and stuff like that, kind of bring back some energy to the space, and people started wondering, is the bear market over? Are we at the beginning stages of a bull market? People started to get excited. But so we had that conversation, where were we? But I mean, I think ultimately we had to accept that we were still very much in a bear market. We talked about the Super Bowl, which in 2022, the Super Bowl was a big opportunity for crypto. We saw so many crypto projects advertising during the Super Bowl halftime, and then 1 year later we see crypto being banned from the Super Bowl. That was super interesting. We talked about crypto on Carnival. This is one area I really want to see people take more of a step towards. We had a few people asking questions, a few people touching base with us at Crypto Caribbean about this, but then bear market hit, people lose interest. So hopefully we see people coming back, seeing the value of using crypto as tokens for transacting within events, transacting within the carnival, using NFTs to showcase the art. So hopefully we have some of those conversations, and in 2024 we see more use of crypto or some use of crypto in the carnival. Then we went to the East versus West, how the East was looking at crypto, how the West was looking at crypto. And that conversation was in February, and even more so now, it feels like the East, China and Hong Kong, Singapore, these guys seem to be moving miles ahead, light speed, pace towards adopting crypto in a significant way, while the US seems to be becoming more and more adversarial. Joe Biden, as part of his campaign towards the next election, we're seeing him talking about all the wealthy crypto people and whatever, all the people who've built legacy wealth in crypto, over the last 14 years. Crazy that this is even a conversation. But anyway, up to today, we saw them broadcasting on Chinese media about the fact that Hong Kong is going to start allowing retail investors to invest in crypto from June. So, I mean, the gap between what the East and the West is doing in this space, it continues to grow. I mean, so we'll continue to look at that. We're seeing US politicians now making crypto a significant talking point. We see people like DeSantis talking about protecting Bitcoin because it protects American freedom. So we know that's going to be a major talking point on the campaign trail. Let's see where that goes. We talked about the SEC and what they've been doing in response to their perception and their perspective about crypto being securities, how they've addressed that, what their earlier positions was, what their position is now. We've seen them say things that, Bitcoin is not a security, but other tokens are. We see them sending out notices to all these crypto exchanges. It's been crazy. And we've seen, even within the US, we've seen the different US regulatory bodies fighting to determine which one should have control over crypto, whether it be the SEC, whether it be the CFTC, the Commodities and Futures Exchange Commission. So I think we're going to be talking about that for a long time. We had my boy Nicholas Huggins, talking about bridging the gap between digital and physical, coming out of his experience as a traditional illustrator in the agency space, the client space, to doing more and more of his own work as NFTs in this crypto space, and how he's experienced success. He just completed one of his collections, the Caribbean architectural alphabet 36 days a type collection, which was a success, all sold out. So congratulations to Nick, and continue to be a friend and fan of the podcast, and showing other artists the way forward. Then we started seeing all these American banks collapsing, starting with Silicon Valley Bank, then First Republic. I mean, since then I think we've seen 5 banks in the US collapse, and some major concern around the stability of the US banking system. The Federal Deposit Insurance Commission stepped in to bail out some of these banks, to take over some of these banks. We saw some bigger banks step in to provide liquidity. Some big banks step in to buy smaller banks. So that is an ongoing conversation, and we'll probably pick it up in season 4 as well. And we talked about AI and AI art, crypto, and NFTs, and how AI was influential about that. We talked about Operation Choke Point, how all from the US um, presidential, what do you call that? Anyway, it will come to me. But how from the political arm to the Congress to the banks, how they were using all of these elements to try and fight off crypto, and not just in a you know circumferential way, but it was a direct attack that was very much akin to a previous operation that was named Operation Choke Point. So a lot of people were talking about this new attack being called Operation Choke Point 2.0. I mean, it's crazy how much we had to talk about in just this last few months. Then we started talking about the decline of the dollar, um, with countries like Russia and China and the BRICS economy countries moving away from trading directly in the US dollar, and how that was impacting the US dollar. We talked about how all this massive money printing during COVID and even after that has been impacting the value of the dollar. We looked at the decline in the purchasing power of the US dollar over the last 50 years or so. And we started to speculate about, how this might continue, or how it might be stopped, how it might be dealt with. And I think that's also a conversation that's going to continue for a long, long time. We talked about airdrops. And guys, like I said, if you don't have money to invest, there are different activities that you can engage in that only require you to invest your time. So, look out for those opportunities if you do have time. Not financial advice, as always. We talked to 𝐉𝐻𝐈𝐍 King, another woman doing amazing things in the blockchain space, as a lawyer, as a blockchain advisor, as a blockchain and NFT consultant, how she got into this space, how she has built a brand in this space, and what she would advise for other people to do, how people can use their traditional education, their traditional experience to, provide value in this new industry. So all the best to her, and for continuing to, like I said, be a reference point for other women to see the ability to deliver value in this space. Hold on. We started, because there was such a crazy demand and people asking questions about Bitcoin, trying to go back to the origins of things. We decided to take a critical look at Bitcoin as a token, started the conversation all over for those people who may have now tuned into the podcast and now tuned into the crypto space to get an understanding and gain an understanding of the space. I think that's important. That might be something that we have to do every single season, for all the new people coming into the space. We had a serious conversation about crypto wallets, the value of being your own bank, the dangers of being your own bank. That conversation has continued to grow and pop back up recently with all the issues around Ledger and their new update that allows people to that allows the platform to save people's seed phrases. The CEO apparently making statements alluding to the fact that they can gain access to your crypto if subpoenaed by the government. So that's going to continue to be a hot conversation as we go through this year. They've pulled back that upgrade, but we're going to see what happens. And then we talked about fiat. We talked about money in general, where does this history come from? Because a lot of people seem to feel like, this crypto thing is so new, it's so crazy. Like, how does this even make sense, without even understanding that even what we experience now as it relates to our fiat money is a relatively new concept in the human experience. So we had to, go back. Sometimes you have to go back before you go forward and break that down. I think that was a super dope conversation. That might be one of those that we have to introduce every single season. And then we talked about the bans on CBDCs, people like DeSantis, states like Texas moving in to ban what they see as a predatory approach by the federal government to um, have undue influence on and access to people's funds, and basically a government overreach into surveillance of its citizens. So states like Florida have decided to ban CBDCs. They do not agree with it. Texas and some of those neighboring states have also stepped in to do that. And yeah, that took us all the way to today, where we are wrapping up this season, an amazing season of information packed season. So if you have any questions, please go back, share, rewatch, like, comment. If you have questions, go to the comment, make your comments there, give us some feedback, hit us in the DM on Instagram, give us some feedback, hit us up on Twitter, give us some feedback into what you want to see in season 4. What are some of the conversations you want to have? Who are some of the experts you want to talk to? What are some of the areas you want to hear about? Do you want to get more technical? Do you want to learn more about coding? Do you want to talk more about jobs in the blockchain space? Just let us know. You know what I mean? But this is what it's all about. We want to communicate with you guys. We want to continue to share with you guys. We want to continue to spread the love, spread the knowledge, spread the education. And like I said, if you know something that we don't know, hit us up. If you're an expert in a particular area of this space that we may not have that expertise, we invite you to come on the podcast. Let's have those conversations. Next season, we want to have some conversations around mining and the potential for that here in the Caribbean. But yeah, I mean, this space is moving at light speed, growing every day. So we're going to always be here to have those conversations, make those amazing connections. Shout out to all my amazing supporters. My boy Stevie, who is always here. Stevie must be busy as hell to not be here with us this evening, but I know he's gonna be checking in on the to rewatch it, and he will be hitting us up in the DMs. So shout out to everybody, Anil, Andre, Twilly, Gnomes, Cutty Ranks. Shout out to my whole Crypto Caribbean team, Ricky Tiki, Daddy J, Cutty, Keish, Brady, everybody who continues to add value to what we add value to you guys. Isan, Rael, Terry, so many people to thank, so many people to give appreciation to, for continuing to support us, to continue to give us the energy to continue to deliver what we believe is great content to you guys, continuing to demystify this cryptic world of crypto and blockchain. Yeah, you know how I feel about it, right? 𝐂𝐎𝐍, believe that this is the future. AI, blockchain, cryptocurrency is the future of our experience. And if you do nothing, please educate yourself, get the knowledge. There is value there. Yeah, because I believe adoption is inevitable. Guys, oh my God. I'm not gonna see you all next week. I'm not gonna see you all the week after that. We're gonna stay locked into our Twitter, our Instagram, Telegram group as we announce when season 4 is gonna start. I will miss you guys, but I am gonna be enjoying the next few weeks without y'all as well. So, season 3, it's a wrap. 90 episodes. See y'all in a few weeks for episode 91 as we start racing towards episode 100. We all think we should celebrate at episode 100 or episode 104. 104 is exactly 2 years worth of podcasting. But 100 is a nice round number. We should raise our bat. We in the Caribbean, we know about cricket. Anyway, that's enough for me. Like, I don't want to leave y'all. Guys, I miss y'all already. But I'm going to see y'all in season 4. Like, share, rewatch. Do the things, right? Do the things so we can continue to grow. So we can grow from 1,600 followers, subscribers to 16,000, from 16,000 to 160,000, from 160,000 to 1.6 million people. Yeah? Let me do the thing, right? Guys, adoption is inevitable. Illuminati out. Be blessed. Love in the house.